Well, hello friends. Welcome back to Always Hacking. Today we are going to take a look at this bug right here. Breadcrumb bar should support drag and drop. So basically, in the file manager, I would like to be able to drag and drop things onto the breadcrumb bar here. So if I open up the downloads directory, or let's open something that has a file in it. If I open here and I have the emoji file, I would like to be able to drag and drop that onto my home directory here, for example. I feel like that would be pretty neat if that would act like if I drag and drop it on my home directory in this way. So the visual interaction of drag and drop is not really where it should be yet, but that's something that we can work on separately. Today I just want to make these buttons here sort of respond to drop. So that's what we're gonna do. And let's go and take a look at some drop event, because I haven't worked on drag and drop for a while. So let's see, what do we normally do? In abstract view, when you drop something, we figure out what index is at the drop event position, and then we fire the on drop hook if we have one. Okay, so I think for breadcrumb bar we want to do something similar, that we sort of work out which path component you are you're dropping it on, and then we would have an on drop hook that you can install a callback on if you want to. So you don't need to support it. And then let's see, so breadcrumb bar, we currently have on segment click. So I'm thinking that what if we just had a similar thing here, like give you the segment index and a drop event on drop. Yeah, and then in file manager, breadcrumb bar, we would say something like, wait, let's see where do we have other on drop handlers here. Okay, so here's one. It's fairly complicated. It'd be good if we could share code with that. But anyway, breadcrumb bar on drop. And then here we have the segment index in the breadcrumb bar, and we have a GUI drop event with whatever it is that you're dropping. So what do we do when you drop something on the tree view? Then first off, we look if the event has any URLs in it. If it doesn't, then we return. That seems fine. So this is just boilerplate, basically. And then we look up the target node, which is the target file system node in the model here. And we check that it is a directory. In this case, in the breadcrumb bar, we know that everything is a directory because we only put directories up there, so we don't need to check that. And then let's see. And then we will try to copy file or directory for each URL in the list. Okay, all right, so essentially for auto URL to copy in URLs, then do all of this, right? So we can probably generalize this. Just give me a moment here and we'll work out what are the commonalities. So if we accepted the drop, then we have to refresh the tree view afterwards. That seems straightforward. This is some very ad hoc invalidation logic for the left-hand side tree view. And of course, we don't have a target node here. We instead need the target path. We'll compute that based on the drop location in the breadcrumb bar. So the target path will be breadcrumb bar segment data for the segment index. Yeah, so The segment data is like arbitrary data that's stored for each individual segment here. And in the case of this breadcrumb bar, we store the full path of each segment. So it should be fairly straightforward, actually. So if we just do this, well, actually, we also have to implement the drop event in breadcrumb bar, I realize. Because we only added the hook, we didn't actually do anything with it. So breadcrumb bar has buttons in it. That's how it's implemented. It's a bunch of buttons. Uncheckable button, sure. And uncheckable button is a GUI button. So what should we do for that? Either we can subclass it and implement a drop event override, or we can add a hook to GUI button, like an on-drop hook. In this case, I feel like subclassing is maybe the nicer choice, because we have some stuff about it that we want to customize anyway in the breadcrumb bar. In fact, we are in the breadcrumb bar CPP here, so maybe we'll call this something else, like breadcrumb button, yeah. And maybe it can stay here. Drop event. And then this guy can have a hook, and then we don't have to put a hook in the GUI button. Okay, so the hook will simply be like this. If on drop event. Okay, nice and simple. And then when we set these up, we can just say on drop is capture this, and also the index, same as we do for onClick. It's essentially the same as onClick, just that we get the drop event here. So we simply forward that to the on-drop hook of the breadcrumb bar. There we go. Okay, so now if we go in here and drag and drop that, what did I just do? Yes, it does work. Okay, wait, so after I drop, there was some weirdness here. Like after I dropped it, I clicked and it's like we were stuck in some weird state after a drop. Like I've let go, but I have to click once before we go back to normal. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain what goes wrong. It's like I have to click twice to open the directory, but it totally does work. So cool. That is cool. The double clicking issue, I think that's probably Windows Server being stuck in some drag and drop mode. There are so many things I want to do with drag and drop to make it more like visually friendly, like to indicate which things are drop targets and stuff like that. Like right now, you have to be aware that like this here is a drop target, which is not ideal. So that's something we should improve. But at least now we can drop and copy files, so that's cool. So let's see if we have some commits just here. I want to do the breadcrumb bar changes individually. So okay, so git commit the GUI, make breadcrumb bar drop report drop events, yeah, and yeah, so this fixes 4792. Dropping something on a breadcrumb segment button will now fire the bar, the breadcrumb bar on drop hook. Yeah. So that's good. That fixes that one. And then the code here in the file manager is pretty crufty. I don't love it, but like the whole way that we handle file move copy operations is very, very crufty. We should really reorganize it into sort of like a job system or something like that, where you have a queue of jobs and then you just add to that queue and then it would process those jobs on a different thread or something. Right now it's kind of a synchronous operation that happens in the drop handler, which is not a super strong design. But today that's not what we're here to do, but we could at least do a little bit of improvement here. So this would be something like, in the abstract sense, what are we doing here? We have a list of URLs that we retrieve, and then we have a target path for those URLs. So essentially, like, copy files to directory, copy, like, copy URLs to directory, let's say. And URLs is a, I think, vector of URLs, right? Yeah. So vector of URL, and the target path. It's not a start; it's a string. The directory, let's say. Yeah. So this is, by the way, I like when things are named in this way. Like copy URLs to directory. It's like URLs. Directory. And you'll notice that URLs is first in the name and first in the parameter list. Like this kind of symmetry and consistency, it makes things so much easier to read if you are diligent about stuff like that. Anyway, side note. So let's see if we can here. Copy URLs to directory, URLs and target path. Okay, and then bloop, copy, directory. Okay. So that's pretty good. Yes, and then let's reuse the same business here. So copy URLs to directory, but in this case it is instead target node full path here. So target node full path. Cool. So that tidied up pretty nice. And is that duplicated elsewhere? Makes me wonder now. Copy file or directory. We are doing it here. That's one more place, and it's slightly different. So let's live with that for now. And I'll start cooking up that transfer queue job thingy in the back of my mind. But yeah, so if we try to drop that there, it doesn't let you. Maybe you should say why it doesn't let you. I mean, yeah, you can't copy there because permission denied, but maybe we should tell you. So copy to desktop, and it totally shows up on the desktop. That's pretty cool. Okay. I'm thinking like should these be draggable, but I'm not sure that really makes sense. Like what am I gonna do? I'm like gonna drag this folder and put it somewhere else from the breadcrumb bar. I mean, on one hand, it's like it's cool if everything is really flexible, so that like if you see something, then you can drag on it and it actually moves. On the other hand, I question the utility of dragging these. So I don't know. Anyway, I think we've achieved what we set out to do here. So let's commit this. File manager. Oh, I need to do a Clang format. It's nice that I get told here that I need to Clang format before committing. Thank you again to Linus for adding the pre-commit hook. So file manager, allow drag and drop onto breadcrumb bar directories. You can now drop dragged items onto directories in the breadcrumb bar, and we'll copy them to that directory for you. Pretty cool. That is pretty neat. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for today's video. So if you made it this far, then I thank you for watching, as I do a little bit of desktop polish, which is something that I really enjoy and is a big part of what makes this whole project so much fun. That I just like this type of stuff. It makes the system feel so much better if you take this type of stuff seriously. So thanks for hanging out with me while I do some of that, and I will see you all next time.